This is the story of a young woman named Linda. She was an orphan. Her parents died when she was just a little girl, too young to even understand what death truly meant. All she had left was a small, old hut they built before they passed away. That hut, though tiny and worn out, was the only place she could call home. Linda grew up all alone. She had no brothers, no sisters, no aunties or uncles to care for her. Every day she struggled to survive, fetching water, cooking, cleaning, and trying to earn small money to feed herself. Life was very hard for her, but she never gave up. She had a quiet strength, even though deep inside, her heart was full of pain. Linda was a very beautiful young lady. Her skin glowed like the morning sun, and her eyes carried the sadness of many years. But beauty did not bring her happiness. What she really wanted was love, a kind she never got the chance to feel. She often wondered what a mother's hug felt like, or how it felt to be carried by a father who truly cared. Every single day, Linda walked down a narrow path to a quiet corner of the village where her parents were buried. She would kneel beside their graves, her eyes full of tears, her voice trembling as she cried out to them. "Why did you leave me all alone?" she would whisper. "Why didn't you wait till I could grow up and know what love feels like? I'm suffering. I have no one to help me, no one to call family. Life is not fair." She would talk to them for hours as if they could hear her. "Please, Daddy, Mummy, come back to me," she cried. "My life is not complete without you. I am so lonely." Sometimes she would sit by the graves until the sun went down. The cold evening breeze would brush her cheeks, drying her tears, but her heart remained heavy. Even though they were gone, Linda still felt close to her parents in that graveyard. It was the only place where she could speak freely, pour out her heart, and feel a little peace. She never missed a day. Rain or shine, Linda would be there, hoping for a miracle, hoping that somehow her parents could come back to her, even if just for one moment. And so, day after day, Linda kept living, quietly, painfully, and with a heart full of longing. But what Linda didn't know was that something strange was about to happen. Something that would change her lonely life forever. One quiet evening, as the sun was slowly setting, Linda was walking back home from her parents' grave. Her heart was heavy, as always. Tears still sat in the corners of her eyes. She had cried so much that her head ached, but crying was the only way she could release her pain. As she walked through a lonely bush path, something unusual happened. An old woman suddenly appeared in front of her. She had wrinkled skin, sharp eyes, and a long stick in her hand. She looked strange, almost like someone from another world. Linda froze. Her heart started beating fast. She wanted to run, but her legs refused to move. The old woman smiled gently and said, "Don't be afraid, my dear." Linda looked at her in surprise. "I have been watching you," the woman said. "You cry every day. You are always in pain, but it's time to stop. Your sorrow can end." Linda's eyes widened. "How do you know all this?" she asked in a shaky voice. The old woman chuckled softly. "I know because I was once like you, lonely, rejected, forgotten. But I found a family, and now I've come to offer you the same." Linda stared at the woman with curiosity. "A family?" "Yes," the old woman said. "We are a coven of women, witches to be exact. We are sisters in spirit and in power. If you join us, you will never be alone again. We will become the sisters you never had. We will protect you, love you, and most of all, we will enrich you." Linda was quiet for a moment. Her thoughts ran wild. What am I really living for? She asked herself. Every day I suffer. Every night I cry. I have no one. Maybe this is the answer to my pain. Maybe this is the family I've been looking for. Her eyes slowly lit up with hope. The old woman noticed and smiled again. "Not only will we become your sisters," she said, "but we will make your life sweet. Your days of hunger, sorrow, and tears will be over. You will be strong, wealthy, and respected." Linda nodded slowly. "I will join you. With all my heart." The old woman reached into her pocket and brought out a small round sweet wrapped in red paper. She handed it to Linda. "Lick this sweet," the old woman said. "It is your entrance. Once you lick it, the gate to our world will open. Tonight, your spirit will appear in our coven. There, you will receive your first taste of power." Without hesitation, Linda unwrapped the sweet and put it on her tongue. It melted quickly, leaving a strange taste behind. Sweet, then bitter, then sweet again. Her heart began to beat faster, but she didn't feel afraid. Instead, she felt excited, for the first time in her life. The old woman looked at her one last time and said, "Prepare yourself. Tonight begins your new journey." Then, just like that, the old woman vanished into thin air. Linda stood there for a while, staring at the empty path. She couldn't believe what had just happened. A part of her still felt unsure, but a bigger part of her felt alive, like something powerful was awakening inside her. She turned and walked home quickly, her steps lighter than usual, her face glowing with excitement. Little did she know, the night ahead would be like no night she had ever known. That night, just as the old woman had said, Linda's spirit appeared deep in the forest. The place was dark, with tall, ancient trees standing like guards around a wide clearing. A large fire burned in the middle of the circle, and around it stood women dressed in black robes with glowing eyes. They were the witches of the coven. As Linda appeared, they welcomed her with open arms. "Welcome, Sister Linda," they said in strange voices. "From today, you belong to us." Linda felt powerful. She no longer felt like the lonely, crying girl she used to be. The witches smiled at her and said, "We will help you. You shall be rich. You shall live the life others can only dream of." Then their leader, a tall witch with silver hair, came forward and said, "We will give you a gift, which is power. You will use this gift to start a makeup business. But not just any business. Anyone you make up will unknowingly be initiated into our coven." Linda's eyes widened. "Will they know?" she asked. "No," the leader replied. "But within 7 days, they will lose their eyes, and their souls will become part of us. In exchange, you will have wealth, fame, and beauty. All we ask is that you return to the coven every night." Without much thought, Linda agreed. She had longed for success all her life, and now it was finally within reach. The witches gave her a bag of money and disappeared into the night. The very next day, Linda rented a beautiful shop in the heart of the town. She decorated it with lights, mirrors, and makeup products of all kinds. Soon, ladies began to flood into her shop. Her hands were magical. Every woman she touched became more beautiful. But exactly 7 days later, each of them began to go blind. One by one, they lost their sight. No one could explain what was happening. The women cried and searched for answers, but no doctor or priest could help them. Meanwhile, Linda grew richer and richer. She bought a big mansion, expensive clothes, and even cars. She lived like a queen. She smiled every day, not minding the lives she was destroying. To her, the exchange was worth it. But one night, while sitting in her gold-plated room, Linda looked at her reflection in the mirror and said to herself, "I'm tired of those witches. I don't want to keep joining them every night. They smell and look old. I am now too big for that nonsense. I'm rich. I'm powerful. I don't need them anymore." With that, Linda lay on her bed and slept off without joining the coven that night. The next morning, she dressed up in her expensive clothes, carried her designer bag, and stepped out, heading to her shop as usual. But just a few minutes from her house, a speeding vehicle appeared out of nowhere. Boom! The car hit her so hard that her body flew into the air and landed on the ground lifeless. Linda died instantly. Just like a chicken being slaughtered, her life ended in one swift moment. The witches had kept their warning. She broke their agreement, and they took her life without mercy. And that was the end of Linda. From a lonely orphan to a rich woman, and finally to a forgotten soul. Moral lessons. Not all that glitters is gold. Quick riches often come with a dark price. When you seek power without thinking of others, destruction may follow. Be careful who you make agreements with, especially when you're desperate. No matter how lonely or sad you feel, never trade your soul for temporary things. Thank you message. Thank you so much for watching this story. If you enjoyed it and learned something from it, please subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of my new stories. There are many more interesting, emotional, and powerful stories coming your way. Stick with me and let's go on this journey together. Thank you once again, and remember, your soul is priceless. Don't sell it for anything.